Hey guys, okay, so today is cauliflower crust day. So I'm starting this morning. I just dropped the girls off at the bus stop. Madeline's watching a show in the other room, so she's going to be busy for a little while. And I'm going to get this started in the dehydrator early so that I have all day. It does need to be flipped over in a couple of hours, but we'll go over that. And yeah, so let's get started. Just had to grab my coconut oil from the cabinet because that was one of the key things that I was missing the last time that I did this. So into the food processor, I've got my cauliflower in pieces here. It's not an entire head. Last time I used one small head and I wasn't able to get it all into the food processor with everything else. So I want to be sure that I can fit everything in this one cup. So that goes in. I'm going to zap that for a second so that it makes some space for everything else. Just pulse it. And this way also you won't have these chunks of cauliflower floating around underneath whenever you're trying to incorporate everything else. Like rice, basically. Okay, next, the next ingredient that works really well in this crust was pine nuts. So I've got 3/4 of a cup of pine nuts. I'm using all light colored ingredients because I found that it keeps it looking like a crust at the end. It doesn't give, like instead of an orange carrot, I'm going to add about a small 1 handful of a yellow carrot. Then I'm going to add, about a 1/2 cup of white onion. Now I'm going to pulse that for just a second to get those tougher ingredients incorporated. Okay. Now I might get in trouble for this because last time I didn't add sun-dried tomatoes, but this time I just feel like it. And also last time I did not add basil, but I just want to have basil in there. So I'm going to add it along with my parsley. And this time I'm also adding 4 dates, pitted dates, instead of 2. So hopefully it will all still turn out the way that it did. Am I recording still? Yes, okay, good. That is good to know. Okay, so here it goes. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure that I'm actually still recording. Yeah, I am. 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Wonderful. Hold on. Okay, 4 dates going in. 1/2 cup of sun-dried tomatoes that I just soaked for a good while. See if that doesn't mess the whole thing up. Now I wanted to show you this also because this was the ingredient that ended up doing the trick for the binding it together. That, along with using coconut oil on the actual plastic sheet that goes in the dehydrator. I used coconut oil so that I was able to peel it away easily, invert it, and then put it right on the rack. So this was what I found at Walmart. So if you think you can't find certain ingredients, can you see that? I found that at Walmart. It was organic ground flaxseed. I used 1/2 of this package the last time I made the crust. I'm using the other 1/2 now. And let me show you this up close. This is what the ground flax looks like whenever you have soaked it. It's like an egg consistency, and it actually works as a binder in the pizza crust. So, and I'm saying pizza crust over and over again. It does have that type of flavor to it, and that's what I use it for. But it's more like a cracker, a thick cracker whenever it came out, but it held together nicely in my hand. I'm going to use this whole thing. It's going in. It held together really nice in my hand. And what I did whenever I made this last pizza, I bought some, I found them at the Dollar Tree, some ketchup and mustard squeeze bottles. And whenever I made my raw tomato sauce, which could be in another video, stay tuned. When I made my raw tomato sauce, I put that in the red squeeze bottle, but ketchup squeeze bottle. And then I made a cashew thyme, almost like, it was basically like a cheese sauce. And so this would be great for an appetizer because I drizzled it across. I drizzled it all over. It didn't look like an actual pizza. And then you could put whatever toppings you want in there. So now for seasonings, this isn't really a seasoning, and you can omit this if you don't want it or if you don't have it in the cupboard. You don't absolutely need it, but this is nutritional yeast. So this is about a tablespoon and a half of nutritional yeast. I'm using dried garlic powder. I'm not using fresh garlic because that's just more moisture in here. About 2 teaspoons. Dried oregano is very important in this because we're looking for that, I want to say Italian herb type of flavor. So a tablespoon of that. Fresh ingredients that are going in are fresh basil, handful. I did not use this last time. Hopefully it's not going to screw the whole thing up. We'll see. I think I'll be all right. Hey, Maddie. What you doing, sweetie?
I got a smoothie.
Not a smoothie. I said you're a sweetie.
I'm not a smoothie.
You're not a sweetie. Okay, well, that's your personal decision.
Mommy, can I help? I'm a big helper.
You're a big helper? I would love it if you would help me. But I gotta tell you, there's one rule about helping Mommy. Do you know what the rule is?
What?
Whatever we make together, you have to taste it at the end. Okay? You sound good? All right. I'm going to add some kelp flakes. Wait, sorry. These are organic dulse granules. This gives a salty flavor because I'm not adding salt into this time.
Well, I love salt.
So about 2 teaspoons of that. And black pepper. Loving it. Oh, there's one other thing. I have to get the from the cabinet. The apple cider vinegar. If you don't have apple cider vinegar, use red wine vinegar. I don't know. Just substitute this stuff. As long as you're not using an egg in here because this is raw when you're doing it in the dehydrator. If you were to bake it in the oven, just trying to avoid gluten, you could totally use an egg in there and bake it in the oven. Listen, I would rather you guys be making this stuff to avoid bad stuff than to not make it at all and just keep eating what you're eating. So let me grab the apple cider vinegar. What, sweetie?
To make.
Oh, you can't have an egg. You don't even eat eggs, you silly girl. Okay, apple cider vinegar. Tablespoon of that. That's for flavor, and that's the only moisture we're adding aside from the water that was in the flax.
I love that.
So about a full tablespoon of that.
It's not.
And let's see what we get with the process here.
I don't like that. Daddy?
Okay, you gonna help? You're helping. You're a wonderful helper. Okay, stop for 1 second. Now I gotta scrape down the sides. Stop. Thank you. Oh, what is Dane the Tiger doing? You better go check it out. Let's push that down in there a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now it's moving along. Okay, my greens are not going down all the way. There we go. Let's see how, oh, it's starting to get thick on, oh, yes. Now what I did, one thing that I really felt, like I said before, I already said this, but I'm going to reiterate how important it ended up being that the coconut oil was on this sheet for the dehydrator. Let me grab it real quick. This is the sheet that I use for my dehydrator. It's called a fruit, they call it a fruit roll sheet. It's for making like fruit roll-ups. But I use this for, I use it instead of putting it right on the grate because this will kind of seep through and then you'll have these weird lines going on. So I put it on here, I smear the coconut oil on this plastic sheeting. And then I put it in the dehydrator and left it for an hour and a half. just until the top started to get darker in color and it started to set up a little bit. And then I have another one of these sheets that comes in a 2-pack. I took the other sheet and put the bottom side down on this, flipped it, peeled this away carefully. The coconut oil allowed me to peel it away. And then now it's on the back of the other tray, and I was able to invert it by holding the rack on top, invert it and put it directly on. So it dries really nicely. No, you can't do that, sweetie. It dried really nicely, and it probably took less time because the plastic can inhibit the heat from getting to it appropriately. Okay, stop talking. More of this. All right, Matt. Okay, thank you. All right, listen. Daniel Tiger needs your help. Okay? Hurry, hurry, hurry. Go get Daniel. This just takes a little bit of time. Good. Now it's starting to fold around. Yay! See a piece of tomato in there. I can see the flecks of green. This is what I'm looking for. It's like a pizza dough. It's starting to form together. Perfect. I'm going to stop right there. Okay. And I'm going to give you a little preview of what that's looking like. Okay. You see how it was starting to form around the blade. This is so much fun. I love being creative with this stuff and being able to make dishes that you're used to eating, but with healthy ingredients and in a healthy way. Okay, I'm going to turn this out into this bowl. Actually, I'm going to scoop it out. Come on out. It's wet. It's not really like a dry pizza dough, but with the coconut oil smeared onto the fruit roll tray. I don't know what to call that. What should I call it? The plastic tray? I guess I'll call it the plastic tray. I don't know. For me, it's the pizza dough tray. And I keep saying dough. That's the other thing. It's not really, it's a crust. It definitely is like a crust. But this is it's great for an appetizer. I ate the whole thing myself last time. But that's just because that's my meal. So I did not add any oil to this time. Hopefully I will not pay for that later, but I added a little tiny bit more flax this time than I did the last time. Okay. Coconut oil going on the sheet. I should have done this before, but this is real-time cooking, friends. I'm going to just smear it on there with my hands. You could use a coconut oil spray if you have it. So the oil is not really in the dish. It's just supporting. It's playing a supporting role. And no salt. This time I used dulse. I didn't use salt in the last one, but I didn't use the dulse in the last one. So dulse flakes give a really, it's seaweed, so it gives a really salty flavor. And as you start to eat less salt, people don't know this, but you eat less salt, you're going to crave less salt, and salt is going to be way too salty when you do have it. That's something that I noticed immediately with eating fully raw, is that I do not miss salt. And when other people prepare things, wow, too much salt. Too much. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Rinse my hands. I'll be right back. Hang tight. Okay, now we got to get this on here and leveled out. Done with the food processor. only person that cleans up as they go. I probably shouldn't be doing this while I'm filming. It's getting to be too long. Okay. Make sure that that's all mixed in well, which it looks pretty good.